All right, my friends, welcome to the virus bacteria region of Astronomy Madness. We have the area very, very well disinfected for the tournament tonight. Thank you for coming back. This is the last region of the opening round of Astronomy Madness. So this year we want to do viruses and bacteria with everything that's going on, but rest assured, this is not going to be a political night. Some students have asked, were we going to include the coronavirus among the 16 seeds? Definitely not. It's just way too soon for that. And we're not going to get political at all. There's been a lot going on in the media from different vantage points. And I'm just going to give you the straight facts on it, straightforward. And it should educate people a little bit about some of the other viruses and bacteria that have been out there through recent history. And for this region, we absolutely needed a ringer. When I took college biology, I really struggled with it. I think I ended up getting an A-, but I don't even know how I got an A-. I would always get multiple choices down to like 2, then I always picked the wrong one. So I need an expert. So we called in our very own Mrs. Staudenauer for this one, and she actually selected the field of 16 viruses and bacteria. And this time around, the research bonuses were, all right, CDC region. So if it's an airborne bacteria, it gets 1 chip down. And if it's totally eradicated from the planet, that gets 1 extra chip. And that only happens with 1 team here in this tournament. So I think that we're going to have a good time. We're going to make some picks. Lydia might pull a couple upsets here, and we're going to learn about viruses and bacteria. Tonight we got Cammie back there on the big board along with her assistant Violet. So we got a full house here for our Monday night drawing. What?
Forget someone?
Who? Didn't I say you already?
No,
I thought I said you.
Said
all right, Lydia's been the star of all of our picks so far. All right, so our first matchup, top seed, I think 27 of you have picked this to win it all. We have the Black Death or the bubonic plague, or simply known as the plague. That's a 1 seed, but it's down a chip for the research bonus. It's up against 16th seeded E. coli. So Lydia, start things off. We are going to need 15 blue chips for the plague, 1 pink chip for E. coli. So while Lydia is picking that out, a little bit about these ones. So the plague was spread by infected fleas from small animals. And when a person got it, they could actually get what were called buboes, which were swollen lymph nodes that could actually pop. That's why it became known as the bubonic plague. It affects the lymphatic system. There were actually not just 1, but 3 major pandemics of the Black Death, but the most famous was the second pandemic of the late Middle Ages. It hit around 1347 and killed 1/3 of Europe's population. Now, real quick, ancient alien story for you about the Black Death, because I find this one fascinating. Some people actually think the Black Death relates to extraterrestrials, because around this time throughout Europe, there were countless UFO sightings, and people throughout Europe would report in the fields outside of these major cities seeing figures that were twirling what looked like a sickle or a scythe that made a whirring sound. And then short time later, the plague actually spread through the city. So some people think this is where the Grim Reaper analogy actually comes from. So that's the Black Death. Hold on 1 sec, I gotta explain E. coli. So E. coli, our underdog, a 16 seed, is a rod-shaped bacteria common in humans. It's highly durable. It replicates rapidly. So it's often used in labs to study how quickly bacteria can multiply. Most strains are harmless. They're actually beneficial to hosts. Many of us have them in our gut, but some strains can cause food poisoning. And scientists estimate E. coli has been around at least 500 million years. All right, I think it's time for our first drawing. So Lydia, did you shake this good? Okay, all right, no hot chips. Okay, top of the bucket, first pick. Blue chip is Black Death. Pink chip, E. coli. And we got, all right, George Washington is the only 1 seed to go down in the first round. Cammy and Violet, the plague, Black Death, is moving on as the 1 seed. Good pick there, Lydia. That's going to make a lot of people happy. All right, our next matchup are 8-9. I know a lot of people have heard of this one. We got the 8th-seeded Measles against the 9th-seeded Mumps. So a little bit about these two here. So first off, let's talk about the 9th-seeded Mumps. Oh, Lydia, by the way, while I'm telling my story here, Measles needs 9 blue chips. Mumps needs 8 pink chips. So the mumps is a viral disease causing fever and swelling of the salivary glands. It's actually more harmful in adults than children. And the introduction of the vaccine has dropped the rate of infection over 90% in the developed world. So very few people get mumps today. Measles can be highly contagious. It's caused by the measles virus. It leads to fever and a rash that's very, very common, and it spreads through coughs and sneezes of those infected. Yes? You had the measles. I didn't know that. Mrs. Krug from off camera actually, did you really? How did I not know that? Are you all right now? You've recovered? Okay, all right, very good. All right, that sounds good. So we've got the measles as our blue chips, the 8 seed, the mumps as our pink chips, the 9. Lydia, second shape, we want to go left-hand side, left-hand side. Oh, I got mumps and a slight upset here. So if you can pull pink, I'm cheering for the pink. Left side. And we got, show it to the camera. No, Lydia, you're killing my bracket. All right. 8th-seeded measles is moving on. Cammy and Violet move on the measles. Good job, BK. All right, next up, we got some major research bonuses in play here. We got Bordetella pertussis. That's our 5 seed, but it is down a chip because it is spread through the air. And then we've got streptococcal pharyngitis that is also down a chip because it is spread through the air, but because it's a 12 seed, it also gets a chip back. So this is a battle of 2 airborne bacteria. So Lydia, we need pertussis to have 11 blue chips. And streptococcal pharyngitis, we need to have 4 pink chips. So 11 blue and 4 pinks. So while Lydia is filling up our bucket, little bit about both of these. Bordetella pertussis is actually the bacteria that causes whooping cough. It's transmitted through the air and only humans can contract it. It actually killed 10 to 20,000 people a year in the US before introduction of the vaccine. The rate of infection has since dropped over 90% in developed countries. So that's whooping cough. Streptococcal pharyngitis is the bacteria that causes strep throat. It can actually lead to scarlet fever in severe cases, and officially it is very, very ouchy. All right, Lydia. So third pick here. Ooh, did we go left side last time? We did. We were supposed to go bottom of the bucket. Oh, man, you got to catch that. All right, this time go bottom of the bucket. Dig down deep. Will we have our first upset of the tournament? I feel like we will. No, it's straight chalk. Cammy, 5-seeded Bordetella pertussis whooping cough is moving on. Violet, is that what you picked? Didn't tell me that time. Okay. All right. Next up, we got a battle of heavyweights. We got smallpox as the 4 seed up against AIDS as the 13. And smallpox, students, if you did your research, is the one entry on here that has officially been eradicated from the planet. So smallpox is a 4 seed that's going to get an extra chip. It is playing like a 3. So Lydia, we are going to need, oh, excellent question. Eradicated means totally gone from the planet. So knock on wood, nobody should get smallpox today. Excellent question. Okay, smallpox is going to get 14 blue chips. AIDS is going to get 4 pink chips. So this is a 14 versus 4. While Lydia is filling up our bracket, a little bit about both. So AIDS, a lot of you probably know, stands for Acquired Immune Deficiency Syndrome. It actually refers to a variety of conditions caused by the HIV virus. Now, the person may actually have very few symptoms from the virus itself, but it actually weakens the immune system so that the body of the infected cannot fight off other infections that they could get later on, such as tuberculosis. So that is AIDS. Smallpox was actually caused by 2 virus variants. The last natural case was 1977. It was officially eradicated by 1980. It was fever and vomiting, followed by a fluid-filled rash, and then scarring after the rash fell off. Interestingly, it was first found in Egyptian mummies dating way back to the 3rd century BC, and the vaccine was invented for this way back in 1796. So that's smallpox. All right, 4th pick, Lydia. We're going right-hand side, right-hand side. Will we have our first upset of the region? I sure hope not. Lydia, I got smallpox going to the Final Four. I need a blue chip bad. Blue chip. Better be blue, baby.
No! That's what we were talking about. We said it would be pink. We knew it. That's so
Major bracket buster. Smallpox goes down hard in the opening round. 2 of my Final Four seeds are already gone. Already gone. No, don't you flash that peace sign. You only flash a peace sign when you do a good pick. George Washington. George Washington already went down. Smallpox goes down to AIDS. AIDS is moving on. A lot of you actually had AIDS going pretty deep in the tournament as a 13 seed. You might be rewarded. Cammie, 13 seed moving on. Major bracket buster. My bracket took a big hit there. Wow. All right. Next up, we got 3rd seeded typhoid fever up against the human papillomavirus, or simply warts, the 14 seed. Lydia, we're going to need 14 blue chips for typhoid fever, and we're going to need 3 pink chips for warts. That's what we're going to need. So a little bit on this one. 14 blue. So typhoid fever, everybody, is a bacterial infection caused by a strain of salmonella. It has high fever with weakness, vomiting, and a skin rash. It is spread by eating food or drinking water contaminated by an infected person. And for those of us children of the 80s and 90s, this was a real bugger to get during a fierce game of Oregon Trail. Warts is the human papillomavirus. 90% of infections actually have no symptoms, but the rest can get sores or lesions. Almost all cervical cancer is caused by HPV, and like AIDS, it can all but eliminate your risk by practicing safe sex or abstaining entirely. Keep that in mind, teens. Very good advice there. Okay, Lydia, blue chip is going to be typhoid fever. Pink chip is going to be warts. We need top of the bucket. It doesn't even matter what I want at this point. My bracket is shut. Okay, I got typhoid going to the Elite 8 here. Blue. Top of the bucket, please give me a blue. Please, please. Blue, 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 blue. Oh, thank goodness. I thought you pulled a pink. Okay, okay. Cammie, typhoid fever is moving on as a 3 seed. All right, Lydia. All right, you redeemed yourself there. All right, next up in the bottom half of the CDC region, we got 6-seeded polio up against 11th-seeded hepatitis C or Hep C. Lydia, we're going to need 11 blue chips for polio, 6 pink chips for hepatitis C. So a little bit about these ones. Polio is short for poliomyelitis, and it is spread by the polio virus. Most fully recover. Up to 70% actually have no symptoms at all. But post-polio symptom can occur years later, weakening muscles. This is preventable with a vaccine, but multiple doses are needed to be effective. There is no actual cure, and back in the 50s and 60s, iron lungs were actually used to help infected people breathe. That's polio. Hepatitis C is caused by a virus primarily affecting the liver. Early on, people show little to no symptoms, but it can eventually lead to liver failure. It is primarily spread by blood-to-blood contact. There is no known vaccine. And tattooing, getting ink done, increases the risk 2 to 3 times normal. So think about that, teens, the next time you get a nice tat. Okay, so we've got blue chips representing polio. We got pink chips representing hepatitis C. Lydia, no, second pick of the bottom region. We need bottom of the bucket, dig deep. Cammie, I got polio, so I need a blue chip. And we got a blue chip. Polio moving on as the 6th seed. Good job, Lydia Krug. All right. 2 to go. Will we have another major bracket buster? Next up, we got cholera, a 7 seed, up against Helicobacter pylori, a 10 seed. So this is our 10-7 matchup here. Lydia, we need 10 blue chips for cholera and 7 pink chips for Helicobacter. So 10 blue, 7 pink. So a little bit about the two of these as we wrap up round number 1 here. Cholera is an infection of the small intestine by the Vibrio cholerae bacteria. Diarrhea and vomiting can be so severe it can lead to dehydration. It is spread by unsafe water and food contaminated by carriers. It's common in the developing world where there can be little clean water. 10 blue chips, yep. And poor sanitation. A vaccine can be given by mouth and can last up to 6 months. So that's our 7th-seeded cholera. Helicobacter pylori is a helical-shaped bacteria usually found in the stomach. It's found in over 50% of people. It may actually be helpful in natural stomach ecology. Infection is more common in developing countries, and it may appear as abdominal pain or nausea. So that's our 10-7. Okay, Lydia, we got, what are we doing? We got left-hand side, left-hand side. I would prefer blue here. I got chalk the rest of the way. And we got, oh, we got blue. All right, our 7-seed cholera is moving. Ooh, Lydia, I needed that. I got cholera going to the Sweet 16. What a weird sentence to say. All right, good job, Lydia. All right, our final matchup of round 1 is 2nd-seeded Ebola up against 15th-seeded Salmonellosis. I probably pronounced that wrong. Salmonellosis. Okay, so Lydia, for our final one, you've done a great job. Ebola is going to need 15 blue chips. Salmonellosis is going to need 2 pink chips. So our final 2 of the region, I hope you've enjoyed this educational tour through viruses and bacteria. So salmonellosis is caused by the Salmonella bacteria. Diarrhea, fever, cramps, and vomiting. It is more dangerous to old and young, and it can lead to typhoid fever, which we already talked about. Most commonly spread by eating contaminated meat, eggs, or milk. That's salmonellosis. Ebola is a virus disease. It is a fever not just in humans, but primates in general, and it's caused by the Ebola virus. Symptoms common to the other diseases we've talked about, but more seriously, damage to the liver and kidneys can follow. It is a very high risk of death. They estimate the average death rate of Ebola is 50%, which is very, very deadly. It spreads through direct contact of body fluids from affected humans or animals. A vaccine was just approved in the US in 2019. The disease was first identified in 1976, and it's most common to sub-Saharan Africa. So far, we have had every single 2-seed getting through. Will 2 seeds make it a perfect 4-0? All right, Lydia, last pick around 1. Ebola is, I'm sorry, right side of the bucket, Ebola is the blue chips, Salmonella is the pink. And we got, drum roll, I would prefer blue chip. Oh! We got a bracket buster. Ebola goes down. Our first 2-seed to go down. Oh my goodness, Lydia, that was 2 major bracket busters. Girls, we need a 15 seed going on. Yeah, we need 15. Violet, put a 15 there. Salmonella advancing as a 15. Oh my goodness. All right, so in that region, we had 2 major bracket busters go down. We're going to have a 13 seed and a 15 moving on. Lydia, some controversial picks tonight. How long have you been planning this? All right, let's head over to the big board. Cammie, I know these pronunciations are tough. Let's take our viewers back through what ended up being a pretty crazy round 1 viruses. Yep.
And measles.
Yep.
And Bortella portosis.
Good. Well done. Well done.
AIDS.
Yep.
Polio.
Right.
Typhoid fever.
Yep. Cholera.
Cholera. Salmonella.
Oh, well done. All right. That is just about going to do it for round 1 of Astronomy Madness. Look for a new leaderboard prior to us beginning round number 2. So for all my helpers, we got Lydia over here. We got Cammie and Violet back there at the big board. Have a great night, everybody. Peace. We got to get the music back on. Where's the music?